Hi guys, Jay motivation speaker and life coach, and I'm back with another nakshatra. I'm shooting these videos when the the nakshatra is in effect. Because unfortunately, by the time that I post these videos, it takes a little bit of time. But yeah, please bear with me. I am doing my best to follow the moon and get in touch with the energies on each particular day when that nakshatra is in effect and that energy is in effect. Okay, so for the uninitiated, what are nakshatras? Nakshatras are these 27 stars in the sky across different constellations, and these stars all have a specific meaning in terms of our Vedic culture, not just Vedic astrology, Vedic culture. Why? Because every star has a representation, has a story, has a deity, details of which deity is to be found in the Vedas. Okay, for example, you call the deity of the nakshatra of Revati, for example, is Pushan. Who is Pushan? Pushan is called the shepherd of the gods. More details written about him if you read the Vedas. If you read the Rig Veda, for example, the Rig Veda, all it contains is the mention of all of these deities and mantras devoted to them, how to impress these deities. And it was believed in Vedic culture that any problem that you have in your life, or any problem that you have associated with a particular quality, that corresponds to what this deity controls, you can pray to them through those homas and through those mantras and energize their blessings in that area of your life in order to heal it. This is what actually the understanding needs to be about nakshatras, not just look at this nakshatra and make a prediction. That's just a very superficial thing. So that's not what we're going to go into at all on this channel. In this series, I'm covering each of the nakshatras basically. First, we'll go one round following the moon. We started with Rohini. Now, today we are at Ashlesha. And we're going to keep going. When we finish one circle, then we're going to begin again. And each time we're going to go deeper and deeper. Then we're going to do the same thing with the deities. Then we're going to do the same thing with other aspects as well of Vedic philosophy, Vedic astrology. Okay? So now, today we are covering Ashlesha nakshatra, and Ashlesha nakshatra is actually a very the right word to put here is that it is a very, very, very enchanting sort of a nakshatra. Ashlesha natives, they have something about them, they have an X factor that they know how to attract people towards them. They can also be very controlling. Because the symbolism of this nakshatra is the coiled serpent, but the symbolism also has a deeper meaning. The coiled serpent can also be representative of a lot of energy of healing, or the energy of the kundalini. Okay, so this is actually a Tiksha nakshatra. It's a sharp nakshatra. It represents poisons. It represents anything that needs to be done in a incisive sort of a manner, or in a manner that is not gentle, in a manner that is stern, in the way that a snake can shoot venom, in the way that a snake can just paralyze even an elephant just by shooting a few ml of his venom. It's the same kind of energy that is working with this nakshatra as well. The understanding here needs to be that while poison can immobilize and kill, it can also heal. So these people, they have a lot of work to heal themselves in this lifetime, or they might also have a lot of karma to heal others. But at the same time, these people need to understand that all the things that happen to them in the process of becoming who they are, which can be very difficult experiences, because after all, it's a Tiksha nakshatra. For example, like I talked about Ardra nakshatra. That nakshatra is all about thunder, lightning, frustration. So you radiate the energy that you feel with it. And that is why quite often we say that Ashlesha people can be very how do I exactly put it? The gentle way to put it, I cannot, because that's not the kind of nakshatra. Ashlesha people can be very opportunistic. and selfish. That is what is said of them. And if you think about it, trigger alert, I mean, don't get triggered. The reason quite often that people who have not properly learned how to develop this nakshatra behave in an opportunistic and even greedy manner is because that is how the world is towards them. Their work in this lifetime is to understand how to rise above that and channel that energy for a greater cause. For example, Lakshman had this nakshatra, Lord Rama's brother Lakshman, he had this nakshatra as his birth star. Now if you look at the quality of Lakshman, the way that he is shown in the Ramayana, he's a person who's always angry, he's a person, who is quite often outspoken, he's a person who is almost always looking to pick up a fight. But at the same time, look at his protective influence in Lord Ram's life. Look at the sacrifice that he made, leaving his wife behind just to go along with his brother and his brother's wife, because that was the level of duty that he felt towards him. He took everything bad that happened. And there is another thing that you probably might not know, that Indrajit could only be killed by somebody who had been celibate for at least 14 years. I think that's kind of the rough timeline, but that's the story. Indrajit, Meghnad, who was the son of Ravan, he was so powerful. He was so powerful. And he used to worship Nikumbila Devi, who is an aspect of the energy of Narsinghi. Narsinghi is the consort of Narsingha avatar, you could say, of Vishnu, and he used to worship that deity. He had tantric prowess over that power, and that is what made him very powerful. And so powerful that anybody who had not been celibate for at least 14 years, there was no way that you could even challenge him. Why couldn't Hanuman do that? Well, that's a different story. But even then, the reason that Hanuman probably could also not challenge Indrajit is because Indrajit was a skilled warrior, skilled archer. He had all sorts of energies, he had all sorts of siddhis that he'd done. He could just disappear and come back and create all sorts of illusions. So in order to fight him, you have to fight him, in the fashion that a warrior does. And there was no other way. Okay, anyway, coming back. So you see that was the level of energy, that was the level of Kundalini energy that Lakshman was able to accumulate within him through the time period that he had to spend wandering with his brother through the forest, encountering all sorts of difficulties and etc. Right? So Ashlesha natives, they have a lot of Kundalini energy that they can use, and these people can literally just, not literally obviously, these people can kill you with their words. They can literally spit venom when they come to it. Okay, they're going to refrain from it, but when they come down to it, they can literally do it. Like, not literally, of course, but you get what I'm trying to say. And notable examples would be Mahatma Gandhi. He had Ashlesha prominent in his chart. Also Nehru, our first Prime Minister, he also had Ashlesha prominent in his chart. Okay, and Ashlesha people, they make good leaders, they make good administrators of small organizations. When things go beyond their control, when things become too big for them, then it becomes difficult for them to manage. Why? Because Ashlesha's energy tends to be more focused on managing a few things and keeping them strictly in their control. Okay, so as parents, they also can become quite controlling parents. As bosses also, they can become micromanaging bosses. It's quite possible. Okay. Anyways, how do you understand this nakshatra? The way that you understand this nakshatra is that if your moon is in this nakshatra, then definitely that is how your mind works. That there is a lot of healing that you need to do in this lifetime. There is a lot of energy within you, and there is a lot of intensity as well within you. There is a lot of tendency as well that you have of hurting people, not realizing it. And so you need to be very cautious of that. Okay, but when you have your moon in Ashlesha, then quite often that points out that there will be a lot of healing that you will need to do, possibly, you know, in your family. There will be a lot of healing that you would want to do or need to do karmically in small organizations. Maybe you get assigned to a branch, you know, or you get assigned to an office, etc. And that is where you will have to do a lot of work. Things that nobody else notices, you notices, and there is a lot of nourishment that you must provide. Okay, it can also create tendencies for alcohol addiction or other addictions. But you might, with moon in Ashlesha, because you know Ashlesha is poisons and toxicity, and with moon here, you might be attracted towards these things. That's just a generalization. If you put Jupiter here in Ashlesha, then it shows that your wisdom is going to grow. Your knowledge is going to grow by healing, by also learning how to be aggressive when the time demands, how to protect people and others with knowledge. Okay? Let's say you have Mars in Ashlesha. Mars in Ashlesha can be very negative. Why? Because on the onset, this energy coupled with Martian energy, if you're not channelizing it properly, it can become very toxic. And you might not even realize it. And it's just that you are not toxic, it's just that the energy that you're giving out attracts a lot of toxicity towards you. A lot of arguments that you might regret later, things you might do in anger that you might regret later. And yeah, I mean, I'm not at all into victim blaming, but yes, it might also be quite a few times that the reason of these outbursts is because that is how it's your karma, that people challenge you. And, you know, you just respond, and when you respond, your responses are disproportionate, and that ends up making you a bad guy. So what you have to learn, let's say you have a planet like Mars in this nakshatra, is that you need to develop willpower with respect to understanding where do I have to use such a powerful vicious force, and where should I let it go? Where do I have to use my force to extricate the negativity, and how do I have to prevent myself through dwelling in those negative emotions? Okay, so it works both ways. Whenever you look at the planetary energy in the nakshatra, the planetary energy is going to be developed through channeling that nakshatra, but at the same time you are going to then, when you master it to some point, take that planetary energy and channel it through the nakshatra and spread it in the world. So that is why, let's say, when you have Rahu in Ashlesha, it can be a very toxic sort of energy. Very toxic. You can become very selfish. You can become very opportunistic. You can become a person, who doesn't care about anybody at all. But at the same time, you can become a person who is able to heal patterns and help people in ways that nobody else can. Okay? So more or less, if you spend more time with the negative, sooner or later you'll develop the positive. But if things are not working out for you positively with respect to any nakshatra, remember, you're probably not expressing the sattvic qualities of that nakshatra. For that, you need to go through a process of growth. That's about it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel so that you can stay abreast of all the wonderful content I post. I post a lot of different sort of content here with respect to self-help, self-improvement, personal growth, healing, and personality analysis, all sorts of things, motivational, inspirational. Push the bell icon so that you can be notified every single time I post. Thank you so much. Take care. Hari Om.